Coming up on Sports Desk, some high drama at the Dome.
Weird delivers. A swing and a fly ball. Center field. It is over. Alomar goes back, tags up, and slowly trots in to touch the plate, and the Blue Jays win it by a final score of 3-2.
Sports Desk, brought to you by Weiser Locks. Quality locks made for Canadians by Canadians.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brendan Connor, and welcome to this edition of Sports Desk. An historic day for game number 3 of the Fall Classic, a day when the World Series truly did become the World Series with the first ever game held outside the United States. We'll fill you in on just what happened at the Sky Dome. Also talk about the flag controversy a little bit. Had folks in a flap, and we have a busy night to tell you about from the NHL. But first, we go to baseball. And that big game as the Jays came home to the Dome Tuesday for game number 3 of the World Series. They gained that split in Atlanta thanks to Ed Sprague's 9th inning heroics. Well, Tuesday's game started with a bash as the Jays fans inside the Dome and right across the country were ready to party.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the 1992 American League champions, your Toronto Blue Jays.
And the World Series has officially arrived in Toronto. First pitch, first out. Otis Nixon flies out to Devon White in center. That's what the Blue Jays wanted, and the game is underway. This one is a pitcher's duel early as Juan Guzman looking just terrific. Watch him get Dave Justice here with a fastball. Then he gets Lonnie Smith with a nasty breaking ball. Then Jeff Blauser blows one by Blauser, and Damon Berryhill. They're going down pretty quickly. But Steve Avery, the young lefty for the Braves, also looking good early. Cuts Robbie Alomar looking there. And then John Olerud will look at an Avery curveball and will miss that Avery curveball. Top of the fourth now, men on first and second. This could be the play of the season. Justice drives it deep to center. Devon White has got it on a great catch. 2 Braves runners didn't think he'd make that catch. Pendleton passed Sanders at second, so he was out. And they almost had a chance for a triple play here as they ran down Deion Sanders. Gruber's definitely tagged him on the leg, knocked him down, in fact, but the ump says safe, so no triple play. The umpire blew the call. Now to the bottom of the fourth, the scoring begins as Joe Carter jerks a Steve Avery pitch into the auxiliary press box in left field. Solo homer. The Jays homer in 9 consecutive games in postseason play. New record, 1-0 Toronto. The Braves have tied it up now as we're in the top of the 8th, and Lonnie Smith with that RBI sends the Braves ahead. For some reason, Justice was put out at third as he missed on just how far it was going to go. Jays come back in the bottom of the 8th, though. Kelly Gruber hasn't hit anything since his ALCS Game 2 homer, but he unloads on Avery and ties the game there. Now, key play in the 9th. The Braves are threatening. Blauser at the plate. Brian Hunter is out at second base, and they appeal, and Blauser was called out on strikes, and that gets Bobby Cox unhappy, throws a helmet out on the field, and is thrown out of the game. Jimmy Williams takes over. Bottom of the 9th, Alomar and Carter aboard. Winfield lays down the great bunt to advance them, so men at second and third. Ed Sprague was walked intentionally. Jeff Reardon brought on to face Maldonado with 1 out. Bases loaded. Maldonado hits this fly ball to center. The outfield was playing in, so Alomar scores easily. That is the game-winning RBI, and Alomar chops all the way home. The Jays win a thriller, 3-2 with more 9th inning heroics. There's your score, 3-2. The Blue Jays take game number 3 of the World Series. Joe Carter with his second postseason home run. Kelly Gruber with his first hit in 23 trips to the plate. A big one, though, a home run to tie it in the 8th. Dwayne Ward got the win again, 2-0 in postseason play. Steve Avery takes the loss. And as I mentioned, the Jays have hit homers in 9 straight postseason games. That is a new record. And for the story of the game and some post-game chat, our Rod Smith filed this report.
Well, Brandon, at this historic World Series game, there was a much expected furor over the Canadian flag, but that never really materialized. Instead, the World Series got back to baseball, and Kelly Gruber got back to the hero's circle with a home run that ended his miserable 0-for-23 batting slump. The only reason why Gruber isn't the main hero of the game is that so many Blue Jays contributed. Devon White, Dave Winfield, Roberto Alomar, and Candy Maldonado, who drove in the winning run.
it was one of those situations where I said to myself, you know, it's an opportunity just to go out and try to put the ball in play. And even so, when I had 2 strikes, you know, it wasn't like I was going to bear down. You know, I just composed myself and said, hey, you know, just use your hands and try to hit the ball out of the park.
But these aren't routine base hits, you know, coming out of it. These are home runs, big home runs, and that must feel even extra special now.
Well, it does. It does. And, you know, I hope I can continue to deliver blows of this nature. And, you know, like I said, against Oakland, you know, it's a thrill to do this because these guys have played so well.
He's played great defense, and that's what I mostly talk to Kelly about is his defense. He's probably the best defensive third baseman in baseball for me. And, of course, talk a little bit to him about hitting. And I think Kelly's missed so much time this year, he's had a tough time with that. He had a tough time getting his timing back. But tonight, as he did in the playoff, he came out with a big home run. And it was good timing for all of us.
They kind of put this whole flag business behind right at the beginning. Did you think that was a nice class move?
Oh, man, it was first class. I mean, not only can the people sing the anthems, but they did a heck of a job, and I don't think there was much carryover.
Would you comment on Joe West and the quick trigger on you tonight?
Well, I you know, was disgusted on dugout, and I threw the helmet and went on the field, and probably deserved to be thrown out when you do that. So.
It probably pissed us off a little bit. It's not going to do anything to us. We've played 162 to get here, plus 7 on top of that. We've lost games before. We should have no problem bouncing back from this.
It was definitely my best start of the postseason, and you know, I felt good about the way I pitched. I didn't really care for the results too much.
Another Blue Jay that definitely warrants mention is Juan Guzman, who pitched 8 full innings, allowing just 1 earned run. The pitching matchup for Game 4 has Jimmy Key going for Toronto, his first start of the series, against Tom Glavine, who pitched the complete game victory for the Braves in Game 1. Rod Smith, TSN, in Toronto.
All right, thank you, Rod. So here's the matchup for game number 4. This will be Wednesday. A couple of lefties, Tom Glavine, we've seen a lot in postseason play, going on 3 days rest, and Jimmy Key, his first appearance in 17 days. Got to hope he won't be rusty, but he is a location and changing speeds pitcher. Might be just what the Jays need after the Braves having faced a flamethrower like Guzman in game number 3.
Tonight. Into a very difficult spot. And Maldonado takes an 0-2 pitch to deep center to win the ball game. The dream is alive and well. He gave him something that Maldonado could drive, and he drove it. Good evening, I'm Jeffrey Kaufman. Well, after a night of firsts last night at the Sky Dome, the Toronto Blue Jays are hoping tonight for a third win in the World Series, that is. The Jays beat the Atlanta Braves 3-2 last night in the first World Series game ever played outside of the United States. The win gives them a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series. Our Bruce Dowbiggin was at the game, and he joins us from Sky Dome with more. Bruce?
Well, Jeffrey, if you had a checklist of all the things you wanted out of a first game on Canadian soil in the World Series history, I don't think you would have had too many open boxes at the end of the night. We had drama, we had pageantry, a little bit of controversy on both sides, and of course, most important to the people here, we had a win by the Blue Jays. They only need 2 more wins to become the world champions of baseball, and folks around here are certainly savoring that. As I say, it was a great night last night in terms of the drama and the controversy, and it started when, of course, we had the old flag flap. We had to find out how the people of Toronto would answer that, and as we'll go to the tape, we'll find out that everything went very well. In fact, we had pomp and circumstance instead of controversy. Both the Marine Corps and the RCMP bearing the flags of both countries, and it was tastefully handled. Anne Murray did a great job in the national anthem, got all the words right. And the plays in the field, this is perhaps the best defensive play we've seen so far in the history of the Sky Dome. Up against the wall goes Devon White, doubles the runner off of first base. They have a chance for the first triple play in World Series history since 1920. Kelly Gruber, however, decides to chase Deion Sanders back to the bag. The umpire sees it. He missed him. We missed the triple play. But then Joe Carter puts us on the board. 1-0 Toronto Blue Jays with this home run into the press corps. I think they threw the ball back. I think you're supposed to when you're in the press anyhow. Great pitched game last night. The fireworks going off, of course. A great pitched game last night for the Blue Jays and for the Atlanta Braves. It was a game also marked by home runs. Blue Jays down 2-1 in the late going. Kelly Gruber delivering this dramatic home run off the facing of the deck in left field. That tied things up at 2 and set things up for the 9th inning. Jeff Reardon, who was the GOAT, unfortunately, in game 2. GOAT once again last night, bases loaded. Candy Maldonado delivers the sac fly to center field. The Blue Jays come away with a dramatic 9th inning win. Fans go crazy, and I think people are starting to have dreams of World Championship swirl through their head. And I guess based on the drama and the excitement we've had, they have some justification in doing that. The Atlanta Braves, however, have shown, I think, through all of the games of the series so far that they're not going to go away. In fact, they have to be wondering what it is they're doing wrong. They've stopped the Blue Jays' offense by and large. They've played pretty good defense. They've done most of the things they thought they had to do to win, and yet they're still down 2-1. Oh, well, that's why they play 7 games anyhow, to find out who can do it over the long haul. Now, a number of the other stories are going on around town as the World Series is not only a Toronto issue, it's a Canadian issue, it's a world issue, and Barb Andrusik is standing by outside the Dome with another story. Barb.
Where it's cold. Another sellout crowd expected tonight in Game 4 of the World Series. More than 51,000 fans were at the game last night. It was difficult to find any Atlanta Braves supporters amongst all the Jays signs and paraphernalia, but we did manage to catch up with 2 fellas who were chopping their way through the crowd.
They're really driving me nuts, but I think we're going to still win, and I'm going to chop them before we leave here tonight. Chop to you, man.
It was all in fun for the most part. 2 Atlanta Braves fans surrounded by a sea of blue.
Go Braves!
John Church and J.J. Watts flew and drove their way up to Toronto for the 3 games here. They rarely miss the Braves in action, no matter where it takes them. Fanatically loyal to their home team, and with tomahawk in hand, they're willing to brave sitting amongst the enemy.
When we first came in the stadium here, some people noticed our jerseys, and they were Blue Jay fans, and they bought us beer. A lot of beer.
Their spirits dampened when they spotted Jays fans wearing T-shirts with their flag upside down in retaliation to the incident in Game 2.
And to see the people of Canada disgrace the American flag is very upsetting to us, because we figured that we're like brothers. And to see that even in justice, very upsetting.
We're from the land of Dixie. I mean, we're as far south as you can get. To tell the truth, you know, you can disgrace that Union rag. Don't disgrace Dixie.
But flag protests were isolated, and attention was once again on the game. John and JJ say they don't have hard feelings. In fact, even though their hearts lie with Atlanta, their brains tell them the Jays in 6.
Toronto seems to have the most superior team, talent-wise, on the field.
We will not be surprised if the Blue Jays win this series. We think Toronto can win, but talent-wise, hands down, Blue Jays.
I agree with them too. Jays in 6, and I guess it's T-minus 2.5 hours and counting to Game 4. Bruce, back inside to you.
Well, Barb, it's right. It takes 2 to tango, and I think it takes 2 good teams to create drama, and that's what we've got. The Braves certainly have given no indications that they're going to roll over and die. If they have any way with it, of course, this will go 7 games, and they will still win the World Series that they so richly want. Remember, tonight on the mound, it's Jimmy Keefe for the Blue Jays. He gets his first postseason start for the Jays, and he'll be up against Tom Glavine, who conquered the Blue Jays in Game 1. And we'll be back with more of the excitement and the drama from down here at the Sky Dome later on the CBC at 6.
Well, Bruce, before you go, it's interesting how this flag furor evaporated so quickly. And it's also interesting that in Barb's story, these Atlanta fans seem more put out than all the Canadians were.
Well, you know, my idea on the whole flag flap was the problem was that they had a day off in between games. And what do they say? An idle mind is the devil's workshop. People had lots of time to think about small things. They wanted to talk baseball. They wanted to talk about the World Series. The only thing there was to talk about on Monday was the flag flap. And everybody got all worked up about it, from prime ministers and presidents on down. I think the fans delivered the appropriate response to it last night, the response it demanded. Had there been a game the next day, the Monday after the Sunday, I don't think we'd have seen maybe even 1/10 of the furor that we saw over it. It just was a product of a lot of hype and people with not too much to write or broadcast.
All right. And we'll see you a little later. Thanks, Bruce.
All right.
Still ahead.
The Steelers and the Chiefs, Sunday night NFL on TSN. It's the only game in town.
Today on Sports Desk, we'll look ahead to Game 4. Jimmy Key against Tom Glavine. Southpaws cross swords. We'll look back to Game 3, where fielders flew and tempers flared. And if you're World Serious, the fever is spreading.
Sports Desk, brought to you by Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement parts, and by Chevy Truck.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Early Report. I'm Jim Van Horn. I can honestly say that I was proud to be a Canadian last night. Over 58,000 fans at Skydome showed as much class as anyone could have expected in the pregame ceremonies leading up to Game 3 of the World Series. Their support and emotional participation in our national anthem set the stage for what turned out to be the most memorable of evenings. The Jays' victory over the Braves gave them a big 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series for the Fall Classic, with Game 4 set to go at Skydome. Rod Smith joins us now. And Rod, it just does not get any better than it was under the lid last night.
It certainly doesn't get any better than this, Jim. Another dramatic ninth-inning comeback by the Blue Jays, this time to take that 2-1 series lead, with all kinds of Blue Jays contributing. Dramatic indeed. Now tonight, they will try to move ahead 3-1 and take total command of this series. The Atlanta Braves have made a few more changes. Because they're facing a left-handed pitcher in Jimmy Key, they've reshuffle the deck, if you will. Ron Gant, who missed the last 2 games, will be back in at left field. Deion Sanders, who batted 3 for 4 at 3 hits and 4 at-bats, will sit on the bench. Lonnie Smith will once again be the designated hitter. I mentioned Jimmy Key. Must be really looking forward to this start. Key didn't get a start in the American League Championship. This will be his first one in a while, and a very critical game indeed. Key with a record of 13-13 during the regular season, an ERA at 3.53, going up against Tom Glavine, who had the complete game victory in Game 1, and his World Series record 2-1. Jimmy Key hasn't started a game in 17 days. He pitched just 2 innings against the Tigers on the last day of the regular season. And his only appearance in the postseason came in Game 5 of the American League Championship Series, when he tossed 3 innings of scoreless relief. Needless to say, the veteran lefty is well rested for his first World Series start.
I understood what they were trying to do with the ball club we were facing in Oakland, and basically the quality of the 3 pitchers that were chosen ahead of me. You're talking about 2 of the premier right-handed pitchers in the game, and maybe the best young pitcher in the game. So all 3 being right-handed, and Oakland's lineup being just about all right-handed except for Harold Baines, you know, I understood the decision.
While Key may be pitching with too much rest, Tom Glavine will start Game 4 on just 3 days rest. This is nothing new for the winner of Game 1, and Glavine feels that the short rest might actually help.
For me, being a location pitcher, a lot of times I'm better off going out there feeling tired or on 3 days rest, because I don't try and throw the ball as hard, and I don't try to be so fine. I just kind of, you know, I just let it go, and the fact that I'm tired sometimes gives me a little bit more sink on my ball and a little bit more movement on my changeup, and those things are all an advantage to me.
Tommy hasn't pitched a whole lot of innings the past month, so he's strong as heck right now, and he's fine.
Both Glavine and Key have rather mediocre career postseason numbers. Glavine has a slight edge in experience, 7 starts to Key's 4. The 2 left-handers have a combined record of 3 and 6, and an ERA around 4. Key has never faced the Braves before, but he thinks the Atlanta lineup is similar to a team that he has faced quite often.
This team reminds me a little bit of Milwaukee. You can't let the leadoff guy get on base. That starts everything for them, no matter who's leading off that inning, because they like to take advantage of hitting and running or stealing bases, and to get the leadoff guy on, it puts a lot of pressure on you as a pitcher. So my first and foremost goal is to get the first guy out of every inning and then go from there.
In Game 1, the Jays had trouble figuring out Glavine's assortment of off-speed pitches. But Glavine admits that it'll be tougher facing the Jays for the second time in just 4 days.
It's obviously going to be a little bit easier for them, I think, now that they've seen me and they know what to expect somewhat. But, you know, it certainly is not going to force me to change my game. I'm going to go out there and do the same thing I do all year long and stick to my game plan. And if they show me that they're making adjustments to me, then I'll start making adjustments to my pitching style.
Another good pitching matchup tonight, just as it was last night. Juan Guzman and Steve Avery both pitched very well. In fact, the only reason why Guzman wasn't the star of the game, allowing just 1 earned run, over 8 innings of play was that so many Blue Jays contributed. There was Candy Maldonado, of course, with the game-winning RBI in the 9th inning. Robbie Alomar, who got it all started with a single and stolen base. Kelly Gruber and Joe Carter with home runs. Gruber busting out of that 0 for 23 slump. And maybe the biggest play of the night in Game 3, that catch by Devon White.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the 1992 American League champions, your Toronto Blue Jays. It was carried by a U.S. Marine Corps color guard. Immediately thereafter, the Commandant of the Marine Corps issued an apology to the people of Canada.
Well hit to center field. Devon White racing back to the warning track. Great catch up against the wall. And the runners passed each other. Pendleton went by Sanders. He has already been called out. Now they have Sanders in a rundown with a chance for a triple play. Gruber did not get him. Well hit down the left field line. Sanders watching it go. Home run, Kelly Gruber. Somebody's been tossed, and here comes Cox. It was Bobby Cox who threw the helmet out there.
Yeah, and I think Joe West, when he looked over there.
And Maldonado picked an 0-2 pitch to deep center to win the ball game. On an 0-2 pitch, he gave him something that Maldonado could drive, and he drove it, driving in Alomar with the winning run. Toronto takes Game 3, 3-2.
And it's a pleasure now. Joining me is George Grant, longtime baseball broadcaster, now with the New York Yankees. And George, talking about Devon White's catch. Seen a lot of World Series play. Was that the best you've seen?
Yeah, we were fortunate. We were out in the North 40 out there in left field, so we had a pretty good view of it. But it ranks, first of all, I mean, it's one of the greatest catches I've seen in a World Series game. I don't know about Willie Mays' catch, but it ranks right there with it. The athletic ability, the last 2 steps, and his ability to leap and go to the wall. The guys in the bullpen told me they didn't think there was any way. The Blue Jays didn't think there was any way he was going to catch it. There were only maybe 3 or 4 players that could have gotten to that. 2 were in the ballpark last night, Nixon and Devon. He made a great catch. That was a turnaround.
That was definitely one of the turnarounds. There have been so many, but when you consider they could have had runners on second and third with none out and a run in already, it's that much bigger, I suppose.
It kind of reminds you a little bit of a year ago when the Braves had opportunities against the Twins, didn't convert, and they ended up losing a World Series. And you almost have a feeling that, 2 things. You have a feeling that maybe those same dynamics are working here. And secondly, you kind of remember 1985 when the Blue Jays, it looked like, had everything signed, sealed, and delivered. And then things somehow miraculously became a Kansas City series. And here you're almost feeling that this is becoming a Toronto series.
Certainly, the momentum really shifted after the White catch. And then on the bottom of the 4th, Joe Carter tees off on another pitch, and this one goes over into the media area where we're sitting, and who gets the ball but George Grant? That must have been a big thrill.
Yeah, it was. It was an emotional night, number one. I think the way the fans reacted here at the start of the game, I mean, you had chills and goosebumps just with the feeling and the emotion, and then you see Joe get up and get the first home run ever off United States soil in a World Series. It was tremendous, and to see it coming, I'm looking up, I'm saying, gee, that's it pretty good. That may be out of here. That may be coming to our section. That may be coming right to me. And it came. It was amazing.
And as much as I'm sure you would have loved to keep it for sentimental reasons, you know Joe Carter would want it too, and you gave it back to him, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it came off Joe Carter's bat. It belonged in Joe Carter's hands. It was where it should be. Plus, he's a first-class guy. He has always been first class in everything he's done in this game and outside the game. He's helped people throughout his career. He deserved it, and the moment of giving him the ball was worth everything, just to see the look on his face.
George, just one final word about the pitching matchup tonight. Jimmy Key, the Braves haven't seen him before, yet the Jays are familiar with Glavine. Is that any advantage at all to Toronto?
They're very similar. In fact, Bobby Cox, for the last couple of years, has said that Tommy Glavine reminds him a lot of Jimmy Key. Jimmy hasn't pitched a lot of late, and he needs his control. That's going to be a key for Jimmy. This is an important game for a lot of reasons. I think the Blue Jays feel comfortable in what they're doing. They feel comfortable where they are. And I think it's a game with Key on the mound that they feel real good about. This could be the game that puts them over the top. And if they win tonight, really, it's not going to be very easy for them, the Braves, to beat the Blue Jays here and in Atlanta, too.
Thanks a lot, George.
Always great, Brock. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. George Grand, longtime baseball broadcaster with the New York Yankees. Now let's go back to Sports Desk.
All right, Rod, still lots more to come from Skydome. Rod is standing by. We'll get back to him with a lot more when Sports Desk continues right after this, and Blue Jays fever has gripped the city.
Well of Whitehorse heard about MotoMaster's new Long Life antifreeze, he was a bit skeptical. After all, with an amazing new formula guaranteed for 4 years or 100,000 kilometers, that's enough to go around the world more than twice. Undaunted, he set out to test it himself. 100,000 kilometers later, Mr. Otwell came to 2 conclusions. You can't buy a better antifreeze than MotoMaster Long Life, and there really is no place like home. MotoMaster, exclusively at Canadian Tire.
Before you vote on October 26th, take a look at the entire Charlottetown Agreement. What it proposes are commitments to a new social and economic union, self-government for Aboriginal peoples, Senate reform, a rebalancing of government roles and responsibilities, a distinct society clause for Quebec. It's your right to be informed. It's important for you and for your country.
On this day, October 21st, 1975, Boston Red Sox catcher Carlton Fisk hits a dramatic home run in Game 6 of the World Series. With the score tied at 6 in the bottom of the 12th, Fisk drilled a solo shot off the left field foul pole to win it for Boston. The win evened the series at 3 games each. The Reds, however, went on to win Game 7 the very next day. Carlton Fisk's famous homer 17 years ago today. And the Toronto Blue Jays have homered in every postseason game so far this year. Some of them of the dramatic variety. Ed Sprague and Kelly Gruber come to mind immediately. Once again, Rod Smith joins us from Skydome. Rod, after last night's game, while leaving Skydome, you would have thought that the Jays had won the series. It's not over by a long shot, but the city has a severe case of Blue Jay fever.
Yeah, it is a lot of Blue Jay fever, Jim. I think this team kind of got used to success, really, with the division titles that they had in the past, but this time fever has really arrived. This is something new, and I think the fans can taste it with 2 wins to go.
Reardon delivers a swing and a fly ball. Center field, it is over, and the Blue Jays win it by a final score of 3-2.
2:03 on the Fan, 14:30. First pitch now 6 hours and about 20 minutes away. Game 4 of the World Series. Jimmy Key and Tom Glavine as the Jays go for the chokehold tonight. What would you like to do?
Just here from the States, came in from San Diego, and spending all we can spend on souvenirs of the Jays.
The heck with this recession stuff.
Go Jays, go!
Well, it's pure delight. I love the enthusiasm and the good-natured feeling that you have here. I'm delighted that baseball came to Toronto because you get the feeling it's in very good hands.
Have you...
Well, I can't believe it. We're stuck in here this afternoon. Yeah, but we'll be watching the Jays.
They may call us crazy Jay fans, but we're going to take her off. Put her there, Donnie boy.
No, I know they haven't won the World Series yet, but you get the feeling from the fans that they can taste it with up 2-1, and certainly things would look good if they could win again tonight and go up 3-1 with another game. Jack Morris pitching in Game 5. You know, in this World Series, the numbers are both impressive and not so good for the Blue Jays, but to say the least, they are interesting.
You can call the World Series what you want, but you certainly can't call it boring. 8 of the last 9 World Series games have been decided by just 1 run. When Bobby Cox was ejected from Game 3, he became only the 6th manager in history to be ejected from a World Series game. He joined some lofty company in Billy Martin, Earl Weaver, and Whitey Herzog. Entering the World Series, Cox has managed in 4 postseason series, and it's interesting that all 4 have gone 7 games. Joe Carter's home run in the 4th inning of Game 3 gave the Jays at least 1 homer in all 9 postseason games this season, a record for consecutive games in the postseason. Carter also became the first player to start 3 consecutive World Series games at 3 different positions: first base, left field, and right field. Only 2 other players who started at 3 different positions in the same series. They are Tony Kubek of the Yankees in 1957 and Willie McCovey of the Giants in '62. The Braves had 9 straight successful steals in the World Series before pinch runner Brian Hunter was caught attempting to steal second base in the 9th inning of Game 3. And then there's the dome factor. Toronto's Game 3 victory increased dome team's record to 9-0 indoors in the World Series. The Twins went 4-0 at the Metrodome in both 1987 and 91.
There's some numbers that we haven't talked about at this year's World Series, Jim, and that is the cost of the tickets. If you want to get them from a scalper, you can pay anywhere from $850 for a single, maybe $1,500 to $2,000 for a pair. So, Jim, couldn't get you the tickets, and I apologize for Game 3 last night, but I think I could fix you up if you could send me the money real soon.
You're out of luck. Got them already. Thanks very much, Rod. We'll check in with you just a little bit later in the show. Be sure to stay with us right after Sports Desk tonight.